The last crossing, the river that no one crossed. In the heart of the Australian outback, where the earth blushed red under the sun, and the eucalyptus trees whispered in the wind, lay the town of Wallandra. Wallandra had a rule, passed down for generations. Never cross the Gidgee River in flood season. The river, usually calm and shallow, turned into a raging snake-like torrent when the rains came. Whole logs were tossed like toothpicks. Livestock, fences, even sheds had been swept away in minutes. And then there was the legend, the story of the Swallow Man. Long ago, they said, a stockman tried to ride his horse across the swollen river to save a trapped calf. Neither he nor the horse returned. Since then, locals swore the river swallowed the foolish. A boy named Jamie. Jamie Tucker was 14, wiry as a fence post, and known for doing two things very well: asking too many questions and climbing where he shouldn't. He loved the stories the old men told at the general store, but he didn't believe in curses or swallowing rivers. He believed in skill, in smarts, in action. Still, when the rains came that year and the Gidgee River roared to life, Jamie stayed clear until the morning he saw something that changed everything. The cry across the water. It was just after dawn. Jamie was checking the fences when he heard it. A faint bleating, carried by the wind. Across the flooded Gidgee, clinging to a patch of high ground, was a young brumby, a wild horse, its chestnut coat slick and trembling. The animal was trapped. The water was rising. Jamie's father had always told him, "You can't save everything, son. Some things you gotta let go." But standing there, Jamie's stomach twisted. If he turned back now, the brumby would be gone before the men from town could bring a boat if they even had one ready. The plan no one approved. Jamie sprinted home, grabbed a coil of rope, and stuffed 2 empty jerry cans into his pack for flotation. He told no one. Adults, he figured, would just tell him to wait. When he returned to the bank, the river looked even meaner, brown, churning, snapping at the air. His heart pounded. I can do this. I have to do this. He tied the rope around his waist, the other end to a sturdy gum tree, and eased into the water. The current hit like a fist. Every step forward felt like being shoved backward. Halfway across, panic bubbled in his chest. His legs burned, his arms ached from holding the jerry cans, and the roar of the water drowned out every thought except keep going. The brumby's eyes. When he finally reached the brumby's mound of safety, the animal snorted, eyes wide and wild. Jamie spoke softly, the way his father did with nervous cattle. Easy, girl. I'm not here to hurt you. It took minutes long, wet minutes, but he managed to slip the rope around her neck. Then, step by step, they began the return. The river tried to take them. Twice Jamie slipped, once going completely under, lungs screaming for air. But each time, the rope around his waist and the thought of letting the brumby drown dragged him up again. The return. When they stumbled onto the muddy bank, both boy and horse shaking from exhaustion, a small crowd had gathered: farmers, shopkeepers, even the postmaster. Jamie collapsed, coughing up river water, as hands pulled him and the brumby further onto dry land. Boy, what were you thinking? The postmaster barked. Jamie didn't answer. He was staring at the brumby, now safe, shaking but alive. And for a moment, the crowd was silent, not in judgment, but in something closer to awe. Years later, the brumby, now named Rivka, lived on the Tucker's farm. She never let anyone but Jamie ride her. And Jamie? He grew into a man known not just for daring, but for knowing when to dare. People in Wallandra stopped telling the story of the Swallow Man so much. Instead, they told the story of the boy who crossed the Gidgee, and the lesson was always the same. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision that something else is more important.